Philadelphia, are you ready?
He said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Now, what is your podcast about?
My podcast is modestly called the Handsome Genius Club Radio Show.
Okay.
It's wrestling and pop culture and politics and whatever bullshit happens to be on my mind at the time. I'm doing a lot more interviews this year. I've been doing it on and off. I did it originally 2008, 2009, 2010, and then gave it up for a long time, and then stops and starts to do it again. And then end of 2019, I said, fuck it, I'm just going to do this thing. And last year I did it as a daily show.
Really?
Yeah. So last year, 264 episodes. I was doing it Monday to Friday. And this year I'm just doing it. I'm doing it 3 times a week, Monday and Thursday for iTunes and Spotify and shit like that. And Friday I do an exclusive show for my Patreon members. So,
how's the following? Good. Is it tough to gauge?
It's no. It's small, but seems to be growing a little. The podcast side is growing. As you guys will probably know, helps to pick good guests. And the Patreon side is small but loyal. I'm trying to think of when the last time I wrestled on a show or worked on a show in the States was. So, my if there had been Patreon and podcasts in 1999, maybe I might have done gangbusters. But I'm not a super indie anymore. I'm not traveling every weekend. I'm not getting flown to England. So now it's a modest little following that I'm trying to regrow. Yeah.
We noticed that the guests are what help grow us quicker.
Yeah.
It's tough with everybody else. I mean, if you just look, you can follow 3 people down, you'll find a wrestling podcast. It's like 1 and 3. It's like, and
which is why
everyone was talking about the same stuff.
Yeah, and talking about the same stuff with the same people. It's one of the reasons that I'm not overly concerned with my numbers. I mean, like I did a fucking podcast Monday through Friday every day of last year. Some days it was just it was to a lot of let's see if you can do it. And some days it was just 20 minutes, 30 minutes of me saying, fuck, I was about to go to bed. I don't want to do this as the podcast. And some nights it was a 45-minute rant about how Ted Cruz is the fucking Antichrist. So, there were times where it was a really tough slog to get through it. And but I have a really, really intensely documented year of my life through working and lockdown and going back to work and re-lockdown and trying to keep my sanity at home and getting a cat. And, and I'm sure that at some point she will come over and start circling me like a shark and hit me in the leg for attention, which means that I'm gonna pay attention to that because she's got claws, and now I'm looking around to see where she might be because I know it's gonna happen. I've said Candyman 3 times. It's gonna happen.
Every time I shoot from home, you'll hear a off in the distance. It's just it's like a question. He asks a question.
Yeah, Chloe isn't. She's a rescue from Quebec, so she came with a shitty French attitude and a French name
and a cigarette.
So I let her keep her name. Her name is Chloe, and so she's living up to it. Yeah.
Well, that's right. You're in Canada, right?
I'm in Toronto. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, which is why, I lived in Pittsburgh for 2 years, fucking 2 decades ago, and that's when I was, I was wrestling my most then. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, West Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, and now I spent the last few years working for Smash up here in Toronto.
Okay.
And I run my own shows on and off. But you can see on my Twitter profile, I call myself mostly retired or almost retired. Whatever.
You'll get there eventually.
Well, no, I've retired twice. It's bullshit. Everybody's life in wrestling is a fucking. Everybody's life is it. Huh?
You know Ron Starr?
Ron Starr?
Yeah.
He's out of Delaware County and here in Philadelphia.
Because I think he retired a couple times too. That's what it
reminded me of. The name sounds familiar, but I don't know that I know him.
No. I feel like it's the thing. Like you think it's like that Al Pacino. Just
yeah.
Suck me right back in.
Yeah. There's no such thing as retiring from wrestling, so don't fool yourself.
There really isn't.
It's just a long time in between bookings, man.
No, that's the thing. That's why you see like all these old timers showing back up in wrestling still. Like you never it's like they get the itch. Someone's gonna give them money to do it. So why the fuck not?
Yeah, a lot of it is the camaraderie of the locker room, and a lot of it is just, got to be a fucking idiot to get into wrestling anyways. So don't expect smart decisions. What? You got into wrestling. You're not suddenly going to start making genius level decisions. So, yeah. Anyhow, so how do you guys usually start? Or did we already start?
No, normally what I'll do is I'll ask questions before we actually start and get what could have been a good lead into the show, and I never do it right because I always jump the gun before I actually start the show. So Larry hits recording right away now because he knows that
that's going to happen.
I go off because I'll ask questions because look, we've never met before. I like to get a good gauge for how we're gonna flow the show because we don't really write anything out. We don't really prep too much. We kind of just go naturally. And
that's fine.
That's how we usually play off each other. I feel like
when we started, and this is when we had shit numbers, we would have those set questions like, "Oh, where did you train?" and "Who was your inspiration?"
I love how you have glasses on with a pocket protector, and as soon as you go into those questions, where's the voice come from?
That's where it was kind of a little. I don't know.
I'll tell you, man. I do especially when I'm talking to wrestlers now. I do everything to avoid, as much as I can, to avoid who trained you, and the fucking robotic.
You went to robot, you went nerd. Gotcha.
Yeah, some of them are necessary. Some of them are good. Some of them you ask because you know something and you want to get your interview subject there.
Yeah.
Like today, I interviewed Jody Threat.
Okay.
And I know Jody. Jody and I are friends, so I know where she trained. I asked her how she went from skateboarding to wrestling, and I didn't spend a lot of time with her on, her training, but I wanted to know, how did it get into her head? This is a thing I want to do. But yeah, the best thing I can say is, you don't have to avoid some of the obvious questions. You just have to find new ways to ask them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's not so much that question that's the problem. It's the same repetitive notion. There's got to be more creativity to get to that. You got to lead them to that without actually asking them the question. Like it's got to come naturally, almost.
Yeah, like one of the things I did today is, every woman wrestler is gonna get the how do you deal with creepy fans? So I said straight up, listen, it's part of the interview is me saying I could be lazy and ask you, how do you deal with creepy fans? We all know they exist. We all know that, unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to fucking raise their kids. So every woman wrestler gets that bullshit, right? Give me the other side of it. Tell me a story. Tell me some stories about fans who have, lightened your day, or, give me the other side of the story. What are the best fan interactions you've had? So, yeah, I how many, yeah, I'm going to read you an email from a weirdo story there. Save that for Twitter and shame people directly.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what should be done.
Yeah, absolutely. So what?
You are a good wrestler. Send me panties. Fuck off. Can you just get a hooker and leave everybody alone? Sex work is work. They're there. They'll put up with you for money.
It's probably more than he wants to spend, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then sit alone in the room in your mother's basement and fucking.
His mom's paying for Wi-Fi already, so you don't.
Yeah, Pornhub it up, buddy.
So this will make the show.
Yeah, I'll find a way of editing it in. That's fine.
I'm not upset by that. I've said a lot worse to nicer
That's
people.
okay. This is what I wanted when I first, because we weren't going to put on a show tonight. I was like, I kind of want to do it, and I haven't done this in a while. Is put this out there, because we used to do it and not get shit. We wouldn't get any response, but it just so happened.
Well, I don't know how much you know about Tim Malone, the fan who hooked us up. Tim Malone is intense. he's one of my Patreon supporters, and I love the guy. I really honestly do. You can leave this in the show too, because I've said this different places. Tim Malone is now infamous because I mention him by name a lot. He's a rabid fan, and it is really cool to have fans who believe in you enough that they're gonna show their support, and they're going to push you because they want more for you. And I mean, for me, sometimes though, I just want to, I'm just going to pull the covers over my head and fucking hibernate. But no, Tim is the kind of guy that once he's on your side, he's on your side. So, you know, I don't know how he is in a fight, but you know, I'd try. I'd give him a knife, tell him to back me up.
Why would you pick a knife though? I mean, you couldn't find anything better for him. Give him something cool like nunchucks.
I'm Canadian, man. You know, I'm not going gun. I'm not going gun, and I usually have a knife on me anyways.
You got to go hunting, big game hunting.
Hey, fuck, man. You know, during the pandemic, coyotes have been coming back into Toronto, and there's always raccoons. Don't trust raccoons.
Well, no, I mean, we get them out here. They're hood raccoons. You don't want to fuck with them.
Yeah,
they've been around the block. They know what's going on.
Carry a fucking golf club.
Trash can back on the lid when they're done.
Yeah, they're little safe crackers. The city of Toronto invested time and money and effort into getting these new green bins, like the recycling bins,
okay,
and garbage bins. Right up here, you know, it's probably the same in the States. You know, blue is your recycling, green is your organic garbage, and black everything else.
Organic garbage.
Like compost and whatever stuff that. I thought you maybe paid more for it. They spent time and money on getting these ones that like lock and everything. And the first night they were out on the streets, raccoons were just like, "Oh yeah, fuck that." They got creepy little hands. That's why. Yeah, they're. I hate raccoons. Mm-hmm. Raccoons are the devil. Anyways, what's with the Al Snow merch on your table there?
I mean, look, it's Philly, it's ECW. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I actually found this at work one day. And
had somebody already written on it?
No. I did that. I love it
because that might be a cry for help from somebody trapped under something.
No.
Oh, let me just take this home. No, actually.
Meanwhile, Skinner, Principal Skinner, is under a giant pile of newspapers, and you left him to die. Bounce it against the wall for an hour and see how many things. Anyway. What's the first show that either of you went to see at ECW Arena?
It was actually probably the first House of Hardcore we went to.
Oh no, actual ECW Arena?
Well, I mean building, Viking Hall, the new Alhambra, whatever you want to call it.
Did you go before?
Yeah, I was there. Okay. It was just like, it wasn't a pay-per-view or anything. It was just like, and
what was it?
It was a house show, I believe. It was just
of who?
It was Sabu. It was that era. So it was Sabu and oh god, I was young. So my memory isn't. I just remember Sabu vividly because it's him.
Because it's Sabu.
Yeah, because you don't fucking.
You're not gonna fucking forget Sabu.
That's what. Yeah, he's actually like one of those ones that you're just like, like right off the bat, like, because I mean they had a lot of people that were like that, but Sabu was always one that stood out in my head.
Okay.
Just being different, and he was fucking nuts. Like that was something that I've never seen before.
So this is late 90s?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
I unfortunately I always looked at ECW as this entity that I could never get to. It was literally 45 minutes down 95, but as a kid looking at that, it just seemed so out of the realm of possibility of people even doing this, that this couldn't be something real, that I would watch it every week. I watched every show, but I never thought that I could get there. I could go and watch that. And then, so years later, finally watching and going to Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore, that goes through there. I think we went to the first show together that I've ever been to at ECW Arena. And it was great. It was Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy were there when he was doing the broken gimmick. And it was Callahan versus Pentagon was like the main event. So like it was a great night, but you could feel the history in that place. It's ridiculous.
So shit, it took you an extra 15 years to get to ECW Arena.
Yeah,
damn.
You know, if you're not in South Philly, I mean, it's not hard to get to, but at that age, it's hard to find the right people to be able to get you there. Luckily, I have cousins that are 4 or 5 years older than I am, so that was kind of my way in. But no, it was kind of like you're not going. No, you're not going down there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the wrestling we want you to watch.
Being kids from the suburbs, I wasn't allowed down the city.
You have to worship the police officer and the repo man, the guy that steals your vehicles.
Family was cruel to you. How many different promotions have you seen at that building?
Just in ECW Arena?
Yeah.
Oh, we saw Wildcat, House of Hardcore.
See an ECW show there. You're talking about 98, 99. You got 20 years worth of indie shows in between. You must have seen something else there.
I didn't get into the indie scene until I was my late 20s.
Me too.
Okay. I am like, that's why I'm engulfed in it now, because I was never big on the internet or social media or anything like that, or I kind of just watched whatever I had access to, and that was never a thing. Like, I never thought to seek it out. I was never like, oh, I wonder, like, I was so narrow-minded. I was like, I wonder if there's more wrestling other places, or if it's just in this TV that's in front of me. Like backyarding. I used to wrestle with my friends, but never like a federation or like a semi-professional. We'll use whatever terminology you want for backyard wrestling, but I never thought that existed, and people used to travel to backyards. Like I never knew of that. And like, so I've gone back and I've watched like old, like early 2000s, mid 2000s Shakara, because we would go to a lot of those shows at
the Wrestle Factory.
Yeah, the Wrestle Factory and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go back and watch, like, I would go back and watch old CZWs, and I would go back and watch old indie shows from when I didn't know about it, just to see how it evolved and how like it differed. Like, and it differs a lot now. I mean, I think social media and the amount of promotions, and it's kind of like the talent pool is there for wrestling, and I don't think it's going anywhere. Like, I think it's completely changed to where you don't have these big roided out juice heads with no personality that you're going to just throw out there and make your star. It's actual people that have been busting their ass and have looked up to these same people that we talk about in the yesteryear, but it's different. It's not like, I don't know how to explain it.
No, you're doing a decent job.
I always shoot.
So what if every promotion on earth is running somewhere in Philly on the same night somehow? What ticket are you buying?
One.
You gotta pick one.
It's
not WrestleMania weekend where there's 63 fucking shows.
Yeah.
Everybody is running in Philadelphia 8 p.m. What ticket are you buying?
I thought you would have a quicker answer to this. Like, I thought you would immediately.
Because I've gone.
And I mean, and I'm talking sight unseen. You haven't read a card. You don't know.
Oh, so who do I?
You got the name of the company.
So who do I trust?
You got maybe a sense of who's going to be on the show, but you're picking it by name. You're picking it mostly by name.
By you adding that, I now have mine, and it's by far NXT. Because I know going in.
Oh, you're talking major promotion or any promotion?
Every single.
I'm talking any promotion.
Oh.
Promotion. I'm talking any promotion.
Yeah,
any promotion.
Because you know they are going to deliver.
Yeah.
If it's takeover in Philly, they're going to deliver, and I'm going to walk out there going, Jesus Christ, what an event! no matter what.
Okay.
Every single time.
Okay.
So, yeah, NXT.
That's a very safe play. I was not thinking.
All right, that's Larry. What about Joe?
I mean, there's so many. There's so many.
Racked with pain here.
I know there's so many that I've recently like that I really enjoy, and I'm torn between a few that I know are going to put on. Like one's going to put on a completely bonkers show, and it's going to be random as fuck, but I know it's going to be fucking awesome, and I know I'm probably going to get to see someone that I haven't seen since my childhood.
Okay.
And that's Violence and Suffering. BXS, they're newer, but
yeah,
I love what they do. Mm-hmm. They've had Too Cold Scorpio on their fucking cards twice, and fucking getting to see him again would be.
Yeah, Scorp is amazing and still amazing. All these years later, still goes balls to the wall. I know. I think Kevin Blackwood is going to be there soon, if he hasn't been already. But yeah, I've seen some stuff about them. I haven't watched any of their shows yet.
JTG literally fought Ricky Shane Page at one of their last ones, and out of all people, JTG took the fucking bundle of light tubes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you listen. You're working Ricky. Ricky's gonna.
It wasn't even Ricky that hit. It was fucking Nick Gage.
That's the thing, because I mean, this isn't said as it should be a shock, but Ricky Shane Page can fucking wrestle.
Oh, he's incredible.
Yep.
He can grapple. He can chain wrestle. Ricky is amazing. So every once in a while I will, some fresh clip will come online, and I don't do it as much lately, but for a while there, some clip was like, oh, this happened yesterday, and I would just text Ricky, please don't die, Ricky. Please don't die.
There's probably a lot of people that get that often from people. I mean,
sure. But I was barbed wire and thumbtacks, and the occasional stupid bump, but I like glass, light tubes, never.
What about scaffolding?
Oh no, I wouldn't do scaffolding. I mean, like I've fucked up my ankle coming off of a curb. I'm not, I'm not going 1986 Skywalkers and busted my leg falling from 12, 14 feet. No.
So what do you think about the wrestling that is that, like the deathmatch style wrestling?
It's got its audience. I'm not its audience. I'm not its target. I'm not, I am not the target market for that. That's just there's some deathmatch stuff that I will enjoy. But I'm a wrestling fan, so I want to see some wrestling in there. And some deathmatch stuff is just garbage for garbage sake. But that's fine. There's somebody out there that's what they love. That's what they're passionate about doing, or that's what they're passionate about watching. And that's one of the things about wrestling now. I don't want to be a gatekeeper, man. No. If there's something that you want to do, if there's something that you want to watch, if there's something that you love, there's a promotion out there that's going to cater to you.
Yeah, just do it.
Go fucking enjoy yourself. But,
today's
I don't like glass.
I mean, I fall into that same category, I think. I mean, I don't think I'm its target audience. Like, I can watch some of it, but I don't like set out and be like, all right, well, I got to catch this card.
Yeah.
It's just not, I'm much like you. And I think this is where my question is going to come in. You said you want to see wrestling.
Yeah.
So who today, if you were given any two wrestlers in the world and you were going to put them together, they had to be wrestling today, who would they be?
Oh, wow. Well, I run shows, so I mean, on occasion still. So that is, there's no way I'll ever narrow that down. like, I mean, I have a hard time narrowing it down to 7 matches for a show, right? There are a few matches that I have put together that, like, over the years, that just I'll still think about them and think that was fucking terrific. That worked out even better than I thought. But to say right now, who would I put together? Jeez, I don't know that I can do that. I don't know. A match that I've been thinking about a lot lately that I'd love to see again is Speedball Mike Bailey and Brent Banks. They had a match in the summer of 2017 when What Culture was still running, and they were doing their World Cup. And they came and they partnered up with Smash Wrestling here in Toronto for a show. And qualifiers for the tournament in the UK. And Mike Bailey, I'm actually going to be putting together a little documentary video about this, that Bailey and Banks and Smash promoter and one of the office guys from What Culture have agreed to participate in. They put on a match that, like, Stole the Show doesn't do it justice. It was just fantastic. It's available on YouTube. You should look it up. One of the matches I've put together in the last couple of years that I would love to see again, Josh Alexander and Holden Albright, who is one of the guys up here in Toronto, who is growing here in Ontario, and who promoters in the States need to jump all over once we can get across the border again. This kid is fucking spectacular. He's a monster. And Josh Alexander he's Josh Alexander.
Yeah.
He's
one of the top wrestlers down right now.
He's a fucking wrestling machine. He's a beast. And
it's nice we get to see him every week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there was a time out, like, I mean, I remember a few years ago when he thought he was done, and it was sad because I knew the absolute untapped potential of him, and I'm telling you, he's gonna be Impact champ by the end of the year. And that's a guy whose shoulders are broad enough that you can put a company on his back.
I was gonna say it's a good horse to bet on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are people. I put a list online today of some of the younger talent up here. People that I think need a spotlight, and there are a lot of them that I could. Ontario is so overloaded with talent. People like Shane Saber and Jody Threat and Alexia Nicole and Space Monkey and BMD and Anton Alexiev and Stratosphere and Fight or Flight, which is Gabriel Fuerza and Von Vertigo, Psycho Mike Rollins. I'm leaving people out, and it's Easy E, Eric Kearney, Rex Atkins. Like, I could go on and on and on and on about the talent, and I feel shitty because I'm probably leaving out a name that I'll remember when we're done. And it's like, oh fuck, I feel like I insulted them by not mentioning their name. There is so much talent in Ontario, and that I could pick 2 names out of a hat, and I'd be happy putting them in the ring, knowing how well they're going to. RJ City, there's so much talent up here that honestly I could just spin a wheel and give a crowd a good show. They'd go home happy. Lionel Knight, I'm gonna keep going.